Welcome to Celtic State of Mind. I'm John Dykes, and once again I'm joined by Jim Simonetti, where we'll be speaking to John Joyce. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
You're at the Jimmy Johnson Academy. It's a place that you're familiar with. Talk to me about your relationship with the Jimmy Johnson.
I just find it wonderful to come along and be part of somebody who was a legend and a proper football player, and to help some kids try and achieve that, then it's a no-brainer for me. As long as I can help people and get to where they want to be, then it's a pleasure to be anywhere.
It's a great attitude, very admirable. But I have been informed that you're one of the best coaches in the Scottish game by somebody who's not in this room. Jim, talk to us about the coaching ability, the man to my left here.
John's a very inspirational coach. He goes about his business on the training field in a manner that's very respectful. It's good. Sets out to make it easy. Sometimes with people who's participating, whether it be a senior player, an amateur player or a youth player, they might not take on the message as quickly or the way that we're looking for them or John's looking for them. But he breaks it down, makes it happen, and then it clicks. It clicks with the different individual players, and then it clicks collectively. So it's been absolutely brilliant with John being about Jimmy Johnson Academy Charitable Trust for the last 9 years or so, and it wouldn't be the same if he wasn't here. Sometimes when the football season starts, John might be away in a professional game looking at whatever, or he's been involved obviously with the professional clubs that he's been involved in and couldn't make it. But for the majority of the time he's been here. It's actually great that John comes along, and he's a Rangers man. He supports the Rangers. We've had many a talk about that. Wally Henderson is a patron of Jimmy Johnson, a very dear friend. The guys in the wall here, you've got Arthur Newman there, you've got Mark Haitley as patrons of the club. This is a complete open club to everybody, whether you support Rangers, whether you support Celtic or whatever. If you're a good coach, but most of all a good person, and what John Joyce is, then you're more than welcome here.
John, so let's go back to your own youth playing football. We speak a lot about this, it's talking to people from your era and what it was like back then. I mean, it's all very organised now when you talk about playing football. What was your upbringing with the football? Mine
was just get out and play in the street. And again, I've got to thank Bobby Denny for that. Bobby stayed right across the road from me in Possil, and his dad, old Jock, would watch me through the window, and he'd be saying to me, right, get your slipper on and get out there and kick that ball with your right foot. And that's what I was doing. There was a wee bookmakers across the road for me that had a right solid wall, so I'd be playing on the street there along with many others, and that's what we had to do as our practice. Nobody ever came and says, right, this is how we're going to coach and this is what we're going to do. So it was a case of getting the ball and going and playing in the street as much and as often as you can, and that then led to 10-20 winners. The only way to finish your 10-20 winner was to win by 2 goals, so that could go from 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night. And again, we were using the street lights for that. But phenomenal, you were playing with adults. It wasn't just guys at your own age, you were playing with bigger guys in there who would have no qualms about taking you out the road, whether you're a wee lad or no. That was just the way it was. Your street team wanted to win, and that was it. So that was my learning curve.
You think back to that generation of loads of kids all playing football in the street. And when I was working on the Quality Street Gang, one of the big questions I used to ask all the players, where did that name come from? And somebody actually suggested that it might just be that they were all street footballers.
I think there's a lot to be said about that. I know they're trying it abroad a bit now about having the street football back again. But again, it's still regulated. It's not like back then where you had your next door neighbour who was 26 coming to smash a wee 12-year-old. But the way it was then, there was no rules. It was like, I don't know, hardball game. So you won it, you're there, you had to take care of it, otherwise a big guy was going to come and take it off you. So 1, you had to be quicker, 2, you had to move quick, and 3, you had to have a brain in you at the same time. So I learned everything in the game. Whereas now, I just see the rules and regulations, and everybody's going along the same boat. And it's great. You see, we've got lots of players who are technically superb now, but it's that next bit. It's the streetwise part of the game. Then I think that we're missing.
You mentioned, I would call it possil. Is it possil?
The posh word for it, the posh word for it is possil, but I would always say possil.
I'd say possil as well. Possil.
I need to get the pronunciation in right. I've spoken to quite a few people from that area over the last weeks and months. Talk to me about your memories of possil.
Fantastic. I wouldn't have had it any other way, and it actually is possil part to be the real snob part of it. Absolutely fantastic. Honestly, the amount of things that I learnt up there just by going about with older guys playing football. I mean, I was playing under 13 football for Postal YM when I was only 9. And again, it was an education. I couldn't understand why I wouldn't get a game every week. But I was only 9 and I was playing with 13-year-olds. And one of them was a guy called Dennis McLeod. Dennis was a hardy boy. Went down to Sunderland and could play, but could handle himself as well. And I played with all these guys for a couple of years up until they were probably about 15. And remember, I'm still only, by that time I'm still only 12, 11. And I played that all the way along, playing with older players. Whereas we tend not to get that anymore. And we tend not to get the streetwise guys honing the skills of the younger guys who've got a bit of technique. So if we can mix it both, then I think we'll get perfect players. You
know, when you're mentioning Dennis McLeod going down to Sunderland, and we'll get on to in a wee moment where you went. So was that was a realistic gateway or a pathway?
Oh, aye. I mean, we had Postal had a connection with lots of teams then. Initially they started when my dad played. I think it was Arsenal. Eddie Kelly then went, and then it was Aston Villa, where I went when I was only, funny enough, 9. And then it went to Coventry. So they'd always a connection with clubs. Sunderland was another one because Joe Hull was a big scout then. Joe had done a bit of scouting, had a big connection with Postal and would take a lot of players down there. In fact, a friend of mine's, Jack Davison, went down there as well at some point. Jack was a fantastic player, probably equivalent to Gary McAllister these days, the way that he played. But Jackie was an absolute phenomenal player. But we had loads of them. I mean, I would play against school teams like All Saints, who had a barrage of players who all played at good levels. I think 3 ended up at Fulham, a couple were in at Celtic, 1 Dundee United. That's the calibre you were playing against every other week. St Columbus was another school who were fantastic players, absolute phenomenal. Whereas I don't see we get that type anymore. We get a lot of technical players who are great at receiving the ball, but can they tackle? Can they track back? They've no got that full package. And I don't know if you need every player who could do that full package anymore, because we've got sitting guys in midfield who tend to do that side of it, a bit like American football. And then we've got defenders who are just fly up the wings now, but they tend not to defend anymore. Whereas back then we had proper full backs who had to defend, and we centre backs who would just win it with a header, then give it to the best player that could go and do it. Now we've got centre backs who I think they're absolute fantastic players, and I don't think that's necessarily the case.
You mentioned there that you had interest from Aston Villa. 9 years of age.
I was 9, and I always remember going down Aston Villa at that time, where they still are a huge club. And my first game that I'd ever seen for Aston Villa was against Birmingham, and I was sitting on the bench with Bruce Rioch. I was 9, and I wasn't going to play in the game. I was never going to play in the game that was played on the day that day. And the guy who ran the show that day was wee Jimmy Hughes, who again was a phenomenal talent. Jimmy could do anything with a ball that he wanted to do. He ran the show that day against the select team that was playing. But I sat on the bench and watched Aston Villa with Bruce Rioch and Neil Rioch sitting on the bench as a 9-year-old. I thought I was in heaven.
That's astonishing. So was there no opportunity for you to go down there and continue with that? No,
I think I was taken down just to kind of have a look at that, to see the way it went at a senior club and the way that Postal had that interaction with them. Again, I just thought it was fantastic, because again I was with all these older boys. But again, I was disappointed that I wasn't playing. I was genuinely disappointed.
It's a good attitude to have though, Johnny.
It was fantastic. And I think I actually remember crying at one point because I wasn't playing. And one of the older guys kind of put his arm around me and says, "Listen, your day will come." And he was right, to be fair. Well, I think we all had that confidence. Because of the street football, you had that, I don't want to say a swagger, but you had that bit of confidence that you thought you were always alright and you could handle it because you were already playing against men. But realistically, I was 9 playing with 13-year-olds, so nowadays I would get it. I would say, right, you're spot on. And they were spot on, to be fair.
What age were you when Coventry came in for you?
I was 15, 16, playing at a tournament in Cowell, down at Dunoon, which was a fantastic tournament. It involved teams from all over. So we played Americans, we played Swedish teams, Djurgårdens, I always remember. And then in the final we played St Mirren, which was an absolute horrible day. But that whole week leading up to that was a real good week. We had a good team, we had a real good football team back then. And then I'd heard that there's obviously a few clubs, as you do, you're out every day of the week talking to other players and they're saying, oh, they're watching you. And the big talk then was that Aberdeen, which I thought, because the scout was quite an active guy in Glasgow, and I'd heard about Aberdeen, never heard about Coventry. I knew Sunderland were there, and I knew a couple of other teams were there, but never in my imagination did I think at Coventry. But it was done during the week before I even knew about it. The Coventry guy had already been and spoke to my mum and dad, who never even told me.
What was the set-up down there at that point? Fantastic. Did they have an academy?
Oh my goodness, fantastic. That is it. That now, what they've got at Wrighton would be an academy right now. They had that unbelievably back then. They had a restaurant where you got your food and your breakfast if you wanted. They had a small weight room which you had, and they had a few parts where you would play the different teams would play different games on it. They had a tennis court which I'd never seen before. So they were way ahead of the time back then. They definitely had a lot more facilities than we had in Scotland.
It's quite sad when you think of what happened to Coventry in the last few years.
Aye, huge club back then. I mean, I don't think they'd ever been out the Premier League back then, if I remember right. And that same year, when I knew I was leaving Coventry, they'd signed Gary Gillespie for Falkirk, who was a Scotland captain, had played in the Falkirk first team, who was a year older than me, I think it was, if I remember right. And I thought, you know what, I'm going home.
I haven't even asked you what position you played yet, Joyce.
Back then it was left back.
Was it?
Back in fly. There was only like 3 small left backs, if I remember right. It was Derek Statham, who was at West Brom, and Kenny Sanson, who was at Crystal Palace at that time before going to Arsenal. And I was that sort of mould. But could bomb on, I could get up and down the wing all day long. And I provided a few goals as well as score goals. So, and I thrived on that, actually. Enjoyed it.
See, when you're 15 and a big club, a great setup like Coventry had at that time, asked you to go down. What's the setup? Are you going down there for 2 years, 3 years? How does it work?
Initially, you're going down as a kind of them to see you, but they'd already seen me, so the deal was I went down there, they were right to get a contract. But down, probably didn't take it all in, if I'm being honest, because the way I went down was quite bizarre. We were playing a team from Iceland the night before, and I've just been turning up to play the game, and again, I'm not playing, but I'm going to Coventry the next day and try to realise, how am I not playing? But I was going to Coventry, so they were protecting me. And then it was there's your train ticket. I thought, I don't know where Coventry is. Central Station, my dad's got my bag, and I'm realising, wait a minute, this is my job now. And he left me at the Central, says, see you later, gets off at Crewe, gets another train to wherever I was, gets a taxi to my digs and chaps the door, says, I'm here. No bother, takes me to my digs and leaves me. 16, 15, and I'm thinking, wow. But phenomenal, they treated you really well.
It takes a bit of guts though when you look back.
Aye, well, nowadays 15-year-olds get driven everywhere, don't they? Their parents take them everywhere. There's no public transport for them to go to games, whereas we were getting 2 and 3 buses to a game yourself. But that was a huge task for me to go down there. I think it's probably the first time outside Scotland.
I don't think, John, Paul, that the young ones knew if they had to get a bus, the majority of them would actually come to training or come and play football.
Maybe no. It was funny because I'm doing with a wee guy called Tommy Harkins, who again was Tommy was phenomenal. Honestly, you give him a ball and he would turn you a tanner and then nutmeg you and then come back and do it again. He would be somebody that Jimmy Johnson would have loved. Absolute phenomenal. Honestly, one of the best wee wingers that you would get. And Tommy went down and right away on the train he says, I'm going home. He was homesick right away.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, wow, we're not even there yet. And then we get there and we're in our digs and he shared the room with me and that was all he done was, I went over the road. And I'm saying, we need to get a wee shot at us. And he did, he went home. And again, it was back to Clydebank, to be fair. And I think, if I remember right, Celtic actually did come in for him at one point. But Tommy suffered a lot. His young brother died early and the demons had set in with him a wee bit and died a few years after that as well, which was a bit of a shame because he was a fantastic player. Absolutely fantastic. I'd just get the ball during the game and I'd game it. And I know he'd keep it until I overlapped him and he'd give it back again.
But it's so difficult for a youngster to go down, and generally when I'm hearing stories like this, sometimes it was a couple of boys from the same area that would go down, maybe for the very reason of homesickness, to help that kind of thing.
Aye.
What was the setup down there then? Who was in charge of the youths?
There's the guy who I met was a guy called Bert Ferguson. Sounds like a Scottish name, but it wasn't really. So he ran like the whole place, like even your digs. It was him and his wife who ran it, and they ran it really well. To be fair, there was 2 separate areas, and then when we went in, Ron Wiley was the assistant manager. Who I think Ron came from Postle or maybe Milton, but hard man. Oh my goodness, real hard man. You wouldn't think twice about turning back round again when he looked at you. You think, oh my goodness, he's getting me into trouble. So back then, that's the way it was ran. There was no like real heads of youth back then. And then when you were in for your wee chat, that they would tell you what you were doing well and what you were doing wrong. But the ultimate decision came between Gordon Milne, who was the manager, and Ron Wiley, who was he wasn't a big chap, but a bit of a legend in there, but real hard character. They actually set me up one day. Again, I was only there and I'm saying, where did we go get a shower? This wee Gallus guy again, thinking I'm Gallus. And they sent me into the manager's room. And I'm in the manager's room. And I think, this is brilliant. Shower. And I say, I've never had a shower. I'm post up with a shower. And with the soap around me and the door opens, who's in? It's only me, it's alright. And he pulls the curtain back. What are you doing in here? A shower? Get to.
You're in the gaffer's room having a shower?
In the gaffer's room having a shower. I've been set up big time and I come out and they're all laughing at me. Terry Yorath.
Terry Yorath, but you speak highly of him. What's your memories of Terry Yorath?
Fantastic man. I want to say I could never speak highly. He would never remember me, but back then he certainly knew who you were, and he was a top pro, top footballer, top man and the first team captain, but always found the time to come and talk to you. And again, probably a highlight of that was we were playing Mansfield, and I wasn't a happy chap because I wasn't playing, and I said to him, I'm going home. And he went, aye. He says, how are you going to get home? I said, I'll get home, don't worry about it, I'll walk him. But he thought I was going back to the digs. I said, I was meaning going back to Glasgow. And he just burst out laughing and put his arm around me, and then correctly he pulled me to the side and spoke to me in a real manner, and he explained how it actually works. And I thought, you know what, fantastic, taking the time out to talk to a wee guy, 15, 16, different class. And Scotland played Wales that year at Anfield. And lo and behold, he's the captain of Wales, isn't he? And I've just got on a battery, and he asked me everywhere where I stayed and everything. Was I going to go to the game up here and everything else? He was a fantastic man. Couldn't he speak highly of him? Left
a big impression on you as well.
Huge impression, aye, definitely.
How did it go then, generally down there? Did you get a lot of games?
No, not really. I was never probably anywhere near it. There was a lot of big English guys there who they seem to kind of, and again I hate to say that, it sounds kind of prejudiced when you're saying or that way that they kind of favoured them. Although I made an impression on them after speaking to John Rice, who was a scout at the time. John had said to me, you know, you've done really well and everything else, and things just maybe didn't go the right way. But no, I played a lot of training games, if you want to call it, but never really hit that top bit that I really wanted to hit.
And you're coming up the road just as Gary Gillespie's coming down to Coventry.
Aye. Again, back then, Coventry, some real big. Bobby McDonald was the actual left back at that time, who was two times the size of me. His legs were bigger than me, never mind him. And Bobby was way up north, who was a real hardy character. Remember, back then you could tackle. So these guys are well ahead of me at the time. I was looking at it now, I was way down the ladder then. And Gary Gillespie's 6 foot, I'm 5 feet 6 and a bit, I think. So again, it made sense to kind of bring these boys that did first team games at that time as well.
I mean, Celtic fans will remember Gary Gillespie had a short spell in the 1990s at Celtic Park.
Yeah.
But back then, I mean, he was Falkirk's youngest ever captain, wasn't he? He was highly rated.
Well, he was 17, I think, if I remember right. Remember, he's not played with Liverpool as well, you know, so no easy thing to do is go and try and displace Alan Hansen and things like that to play then. So, by a player, but first move for him would be Coventry, and then kicked on for there. So maybe Celtic didn't see the best of Gary Gillespie, but he was certainly a good footballer. I think maybe just in at the wrong time. Sometimes you go to the club at the wrong time. Maybe in hindsight, if you went at a different time with some good players on about him, then you'd have seen the best of Gary Gillespie.
Yeah, I think that's when he signed. We were thinking about the boy that played with Liverpool, but injury problems.
A lot of injuries then as well.
By that stage. And the chairman of Coventry was Jimmy Hill. What's your memories of Jimmy Hill?
Jimmy Hill, we would never see him. He would be over in, again, I'm never great with this, it's over in Dubai or Qatar or something like that. Had a lot of stake over there with clubs and a lot of kind of money flying about, and I didn't have a great time with him because he brought somebody over and played them in a game who shouldn't have played, and I wasn't too happy with that. But that seemed to be the way it was back then in football, that if certain guys were doing certain things for certain people, then some of them played, and that was, which was great, was Terry Orath explained that to me, and I never forgot it.
No, but you were figuring things out at a young age there, weren't you?
Very, I think back then, maybe even guys that I played with would probably say that he would maybe go and coach. Because on the park, I might not have been a captain or anything like that at times, but I was certainly leading the park. I wasn't a shrinking violet, that's for sure.
When you come back up the roads, how long were you doing in Coventry?
Less than a year.
Right.
I didn't last a year.
You come back up the road, what's your plans at that stage to try and get yourself a senior club up in Scotland?
Do you know, my head was pickled. I was actually on a downer, realising that maybe I've kind of blew that one. And I came back and I think my head was certainly pickled. I didn't have any great ambitions about doing anything, if I'm being honest. And again, Portugal came to, they were great. They were like, right, you're back here, you're back up the road, so you come and play with us without any other senior teams being attached to you. You just go and enjoy yourself, which I did. I went back there probably for the first month or so. I wasn't the same player, I can tell you that. I wasn't nowhere near the same player. I think probably a shock to my system coming back and realising I went for talking to Terry Orath to talk to my mate next door again, and that's a kind of culture shock, but quickly got back into it again, and then started playing well again, and a few clubs sniffing about again. In fact, my mother actually told me about Clydebank. She was a home help and she was doing a job up in Milton, and the guy was a scout for Clydebank, and my mother was talking away, and he said to my mum, your son he plays football, Joyce, I know that name. He pulled the book out and the name's in the book. She went, wow. She came down the road and told me.
And eventually that offer came.
It did, aye. And again, I was never comfortable with it, to be honest. I remember I was in the Portugal YM hall the night before the game, and my mate was playing with Thistle the next day, Jackie Davison, and my cousin was playing with Thistle, Jim Kelly. So we were in there and playing table tennis, which again is probably a different world away from today. And I said to Jack, I'm not so sure about this. And he's like, oh no, you'll love it, you'll get in there and you'll play. And we goes the next day, Rangers are playing Celtic that day, and I'm saying to him, I'm going to Rangers Celtic game. And no, you're coming to play the game. So because along to Firhill, we were playing. I came on as a sub again. I wasn't happy. I came on for Tam Callaghan, and I'm thinking, wow, I've just came on for one of the guys. And again, I've got to speak really highly of Tommy Callaghan. He was a gentleman, absolute gentleman.
Tid.
Oh, honestly, gentleman. Real manners about him.
So he was like an experienced pro coming to the end of his time.
Bearing in mind, he's a legend at Celtic.
Yeah.
And finding time to talk to, again, I even say that as a young player back then, but 21, you never get into first teams back then. It was always established players, but that man took time to talk to you and make sure you were alright. Gentleman, man. Definitely. And I always found that with these guys who you kind of look to and you're looking up to and you're thinking, wow, how humble are they? Mm-hmm. Really, really humble gentleman, and finding time to spend a wee bit 5 minutes with you. Good, well done. And he was very complimentary. It's
good that people have made that positive impression on you.
Oh, very. And I've got to say, it's always the players like that who made the impression. Like I've speak to some of the young boys now, and they would walk by people in the street. They've not got that time of day for them. They only want to speak to somebody who's earning the same money as them or in the same sort of field.
Aye.
Whereas these guys are so humble. I've spoke to Davy Hay, humble man as well. Willie Henderson, humble man. Bertie Auld, oh my goodness, funniest man in the world. Tremendous.
It is. It's tremendous to hear. But you never felt that comfortable at Clydebank?
No, I didn't. I'll be honest. I didn't feel as if you were part of it. I just felt as if you were using me at times to kind of play, and I quickly saw it through that, and I thought, nah, this isn't for me. It never appeared for the next game. And again, I went back to play with Portugal to the end of the season there and won a Scottish Cup with them, so that was great.
Aye, and then that started off a career in juniors football after that.
It did actually, aye, and again, I've got to say, I loved juniors football back then.
Was there money kicking about in the junior game?
There was, but no, nothing like the sort of money that some of these boys maybe earn now. Some of them can maybe get a half decent wage with their job and have a good living out of it. Back then, you were talking about £10, £20. If you went to one of the bigger clubs, then you maybe got a wee sign-on fee in there, which I did, to be fair. Although I didn't tell wee Billy Reid that. I always told him I didn't get any money because he always wanted more than me. But back then it was great. The experience of playing with real men kind of brings it you to the front, if you want to call it. You know, you've got the youthfulness and you've got the legs and you've got the energy, whereas the older guys have got the real thinking part of the junior game back then, which was blood thunder. Probably got a bad name, but there was a lot of good footballers in it as well at the same time who went on to make a career in senior football. But no, a real experience playing with men. You're talking about Billy Reid. You mentioned Billy Reid there. Did you play against him? No, I played with Billy. Aye, yeah. We both played at Ashfield. And then again, there was chalk. You always wanted to wear the hoops? Well, no calling to that tattoo he's there, that's for sure. But back then, we had some players like that. Big Jim Sanders was another one who went on to Queen of the South. And again, I think we played Glenafton in the Scottish Cup that year, who were a big team. And there was talk that the threes were going to Queen of the South, but they two went and I stayed for whatever reason, I don't know why. But I loved it. I loved junior football. It was really, really good. And what was good about it was once the game was done, everybody was all friends. There was none of this kind of held over for the game. You went in, back then everybody more or less had a social club, so you went in then, you get a pint with the guy that you're trying to kick and he was kicking you, and then the night went on from there. You've been involved not only in the youth side of coaching since then, and we'll come on to that in a few moments, John, but also in the senior game management level. How would you rate the junior game back then compared to where we are now in terms of senior football? I think the junior football back then would be senior football. Most of the players back then would certainly be in the lower divisions by far, and maybe the next division up quite easily, and some would go even further again. There's a lot of hidden talent back then, and again, a change of days, I think these guys would be propelled into senior football quite easily if they wanted it. Now, some chose to stay junior because they get a good living out of it, they get well paid, they had a good social life, and then they had good jobs. But I think nowadays these guys back then would certainly be playing bottom tier football, next tier up, definitely easy. Aye. See, when you look through your junior career and some of the names, Glenn Cairn, Ashfield, Rob Roy, Persia, Glenn Boyd, Ben Burb, Johnstonborough. Aye. What kind of names can you remember as in players that made an impression on you, guys that you think might have made that step up? Well, Jackie Davison's one. Jackie should have been playing. See, Jackie went to Thistle but came back and played and didn't do sell any favours coming back again. I don't think the game suited him, but he should have played, definitely. I even played against Gordon Marshall, believe it or not. He played for Newton Grange Star, I think it was, who would be a lot older than Gordon Marshall's son, then goes on to play for Celtic. But back then you'd guys like that, you'd Paul Norrie Fulton, oh my goodness, Stevie Fulton's dad. Oh my God. Talk to us about that. I've heard Stevie actually talking about Norrie Fulton. I'll tell you what, you look at Norrie Fulton, you're thinking, any bother, I can handle him. No, you can't. Well, did they have the same kind of build as Stevie? Very much so, but smaller stature, but same kind of body shape, but you think you've got him and he would just turn you and score. He was a phenomenal player, really phenomenal player. Jimmy Shoes, Jimmy again was a wonder player. Honestly, Jimmy Shoes could have played abroad, a Dutch team, a Swedish team, whatever, and done really well. They were more suited to that type of football. We Tommy Harkins, as I say, same, could have went and done whatever he wanted. So you're talking there, John, even Stephen's been a guest on Celtic State of Mind for a wee while, and the good work that Stephen is currently doing at St Roch's and Rock Talk with the mental health and all that, he's done brilliant. But he, as a young player, I'm just looking at the photograph here, when you won the Scottish Cup. Yep. It's fantastic that Stevie is still about, yourselves about, and Stevie's another one of the players who was absolutely fantastic. An All Saints boy, a fantastic young player he was back then, wasn't he? Oh, listen, Stevie Milne should have been definitely playing a lot higher than what he played. Stevie was so elegant. I've never seen Stevie make a tackle. Never in all the time I'd played with him, because he didn't have to. He positioned himself where he was, and when he got it, he just gave you it. And at times it was like instinct. I could just look at him and he'd know I'd be away. And as soon as I went away, he just came across and covered that gap. And then as soon as it broke back down again, he would get himself back to where he was. He was a phenomenal player. Steph Marley. Steph went to Hibs, now in Australia, a real good pal of mine. Steph played the other side of me, who again, in this modern age, would be playing. You're talking now, these are equivalent full-backs of guys who bomb on way back in that day. Jerry Griffin's a striker. Jerry was probably the best striker that I've ever played with. The guy was phenomenal.
He's a good team then. And Paul touched on something earlier. Know that the players back then, the majority of the players that was in junior would probably be up maybe in the Premier League and all that today compared to today's players. But the majority of the boys all came for schemes.
This is a bit that I think football now has changed because there's money involved in the game now. Even at youth level now, there's money involved in it. And even at SYFA level with kids clubs, because it's all costing money. Everybody's got to pay for parks, everybody's got to pay for different things. So I think now that we've went Americanised. We've got people paying to play, and it seems to be that you need to play kids now because their parents are paying money. Back then we didn't have money.
No.
We were playing with, I remember playing with screw-in studs in a Red Park.
Aye.
And you're thinking, that wouldn't happen now. And then you were hardened into it. Maybe that's why we explain why all these old guys have got injuries now. But back then, everybody was streetwise. Everybody came for schemes. We've got Postle, we've got Easterhouse, Bobby Russell's Easterhouse. We've got Royston, we've got Blackhill, we've got Barmulloch, we've got everything like that. Milton, Codder. Again, another one who I've missed out is Budgie Craig and Robert Craig, two brothers. Absolute fantastic. Budgie played for Bertie at Thistle. Robert never went senior, who should have went senior. But happy to stay at St Roch's, funny enough. Both of them played with St Roch's. So everybody I seem to play with all came for All Saints at one point, and then everybody else that I played with was for Postle. It was very unlikely to be an exception for anybody to come for anywhere else. But we all had streetwise guys who all played, and we're all pally. That was the thing. It wasn't a case of, oh, he comes for there, he comes for there, he comes for Blackhill, no talk to him. No, that isn't the case. We're all pals. We all muck in together. If we muck in together, we'll win games. And if we win games, we can then turn on a bit of style as well at the same time.
You mentioned St Roch's, and we know through Jim and I speaking to him that it was always Frank McGarvey's ambition to play for St Roch's, but he couldn't get a game for them. Eh, Jim?
That's correct. He just couldn't get a game.
Couldn't get a game.
Well, see, back then, he wouldn't get a game. As we talk about these players, like, you're talking about Paddy Smythe and all that of this world. Wee Farrell, oh my goodness.
Sure, he was in the other day, John.
Shug was another one who would take the light and just take the mic out of you.
Another one that won't tell you, obviously, because he's too humble, you know, about his ability. How good was Shuggy Farrell?
Shuggy Farrell could have played senior football easy. And again, people would be misled by Shuggy. They look at him being small in stature and maybe they kind of shape him, but Shuggy in nowadays terms would be scoring goals left, right and centre. I went to watch him East Kilbride in the cup final, and great. Went to watch him in the semi-finals because Stevie Marley was playing with Pollock at the time.
Right, aye.
And East Kilbride beat them, and then went on to win the final. And wee Shuggy could play all right. Don't let him kid you, that one.
See, during your junior career, did you ever come up against the great George Conley?
By the way, phenomenal. Socky Juniors, I tell you what, now we're talking humble. Real humble man. Fantastic player. I've never seen a man strike a ball with no backlift. 60, 70 yards. And which Socky had at that time, the wee guy up front, Cole, played wide. Frank Cole, I think his name was, ended up at Alloa. And as soon as George Conley got that ball, Frank Cole moved and George Conley found him. And Socky was a big part as well. So my legs were a bit tired by the end of that game. But I tell you what, such a humble man. Actually sad, when I went in, because a pal of mine's, Mick Riley, was a huge Celtic fan. Loved George Conley, and Mick was crying when he seen him because he'd let himself go a wee bit, he could still play. And he sat, I remember in the club after the game, he sat himself at a table with an old Puma bag with a pint. It was really sad to see, but I tell you what, even at that age, pass a ball, my goodness. And again, I never seen him tackle, he didn't have to.
That's incredible, that.
Fantastic, honestly.
My uncle Willie was the goalie of that Socky team, and he said he used to just roll the ball out to George.
Is that right?
And that was it.
Brilliant.
Let his feet do the magic, you know.
I tell you what, I kid you not, he was fantastic. Our boys couldn't get near him. And Mick was lively. Mick would be all hairy like a rash. Couldn't get near him.
Now, you're talking about junior football in Scotland back then. You're up against somebody who played in the European Cup final in 1970.
Aye.
That's incredible, is it not?
That was the bit about it, but again, just so humble. And you're thinking, Tim Callahan, legend, humble. George Conley, even humbler.
Terry Yorath, the most humblest guy ever in the world. And yet you get a brash young boy in it, the youth team think he's the top man because you got a toilet bag.
That's right. And you know, John, it's amazing, Paul. John, myself, Bertie and wee Willie went to the Youth Scottish Cup final, John.
It was actually, aye.
The four of us sitting there, him and Bertie, holding each other's arms and just talking, watching the game, and wee Willie sitting there watching the Rangers youth players, and at that particular time, a couple of years back. And me and John sitting there, listening to the two of them talking away, and the crack between them. They're absolutely brilliant, being in the presence of they two legends. They weren't away above themselves like you get, the heat's doing, the headphones are on, they're walking by all the young kids. These guys stopped and talked to everybody, and they did stop and talk to everybody. So, very humble guys, very humble, and always get time for you.
But funny guys. That's
funny, John.
That was the most hilarious night that I've had a game of football ever.
Unbelievable.
So funny, unbelievably funny. And again, the two of them were playing off each other, and then they would hit you in the top of the head, and you're thinking, my God, I'm just being hit with Willie Henderson and Bertie Auld here. What's going on? But a funny story to Bertie, because we played Thistle, and obviously my mate Jackie Davison stayed in Wester Common Flats, and I stayed in Bardowie Street, so I had to walk up to him. So I'm playing against him, and we're going to Firhill to play. So we two are hungry, starving, bag of chips, gets a bag of chips. Jagger draws up beside us, walking by Wester Common Flats. We're sharing these chips. Get your chips down. Bertie, get in a car. Chips are down. No, I'm not even. I'm playing with the other team. He's gave me it tight, and I'm like, I ain't bother. Chips down. Petrified. But I tell you what a laugh. Years later, you are playing at the Rangers tournament. I'm working that day.
That's right.
And I'm at the far side, and I sees this man walking across the park. Bertie. Joyce. How you doing, Bertie? You alright? Doesn't forget your name.
He doesn't forget anybody's name.
And then goes on to talk about Monco was his best mate back then. And my dad, because Bertie's with Postal as well. But they stayed in Palmure Street, which was a real hotbed of football back then again. But Bertie's mum had the shop right just up the road from Firhill, and then she had a wee kind of van thing right in Wester Common Flats. So amazing, but never forgot you. Unbelievably, all the years after it.
It was amazing, wasn't it?
Aye.
So, Paul, just on that wee bit of that Rangers International Youth Tournament, he actually took the boys and he's standing in a tunnel with a Jimmy Johnson team and the Rangers A boys team, and he's telling everybody, it's the biggest game of my career. This is the most important tunnel I've ever been in, because it's the current one. It's the current final. And out he goes, and you could see him, Paul. It's hard to describe it, John. He was so honoured to walk out in front of Jinky's team, and he seemed to get taller and taller as he was walking out, and he actually absolutely loved it. But that was a great day, that day.
I think that's the thing that we all missed, Jim. We're talking about proper football players.
Oh,
so whether I'm a Rangers fan or you're talking about watching a guy who's supremely talented. So if you can't get lifted with that in a Kenny Dalglish, then we shouldn't be involved in football. If we can learn off how Jimmy Johnson beat somebody, albeit it would beat you 10 times. If he beat you once, then it would be great and he put it in the box and somebody scored. And then Kenny Dalglish with the ability he had. But back then, there was lots of players. Sandy Jardine at Rangers, Davy Cooper, phenomenal players.
Absolutely.
Where are they now? We've no go at guys like that anymore.
I will definitely be asking your opinion on the dearth of talent or otherwise currently, John, without a doubt. When you were playing your junior career, there was talk that Scotland were going to call you up. That back then. The Scotland team was picked by a committee. So if you upset one of them, then you had the chance that you weren't going to get picked. And again, I can remember the game clearly because we had we'd signed Phil Carville, and Stuart Patterson from Milton Battlefield at the time, who were a great good team back then, that amateur kind of status, or under 21s. Phil could score goals like anybody's business. Stuart Patterson was a flying machine. So again, the threes linked up really well. We were all similar age, and we were flying at the time. So I've been told off the actual guy I'm in the Scotland squad. Come the Monday, I wasn't in the Scotland squad for whatever reason. And again, it came apparent that I was arguing with one of their committee guys, and he took umbrage to that, so I never get selected. So they're looking for the blue-eyed boys. It's all nepotism, isn't it?
Well, there's a bit of that, I think, in every walk of life.
Yeah. You stop your junior career anyway at 36. You continue to play.
Yep. And
it was really just by coincidence that you got, or by luck that you got into coaching, by going to watch the boys team.
I had absolute no interest. But at that point, I took up a career in work. I'd studied and because I'd missed out on a wee bit of that, and I went back and I went fully on right into work. And I kind of concentrated on that. But at that time, my son's getting a wee bit older and he was playing. And I used to go and watch them and stay out the road. And then the guy said to me, look, the team's getting disbanded. And I thought, you can't disband the kids. You know, they've got to be somewhere for them to go. And I says, right, okay. He says, you want to take the team? And I went, well, no, really. I says, being honest, no. I says, but if you're going to disband them, I will. I says, and I'll get somebody to help me. And again, back then, it was difficult because most of the kids were all kind of local or in about Castlemilk, Rutherglen, that sort of thing. A lot of money. The team wasn't the richest club ever. Again, that kind of falling out with people who are running the teams and money concerns. So I decided, you know what, I'll do it. And I went away and I bought all these boys because the kids didn't have any boys. I bought them kit because they never had any kit. And that's what started it. And that was way back then. And again, that whole team ended up in senior football, believe it or not. Every one of them.
Really?
Everyone, for the goalkeeper right through to the sub, ended up in senior football after.
What age group were they?
They would be the start of pro youth at that time, so they would be probably 11, 12. But everyone to a man went to a senior club. One, wee Matthew Flynn, funny enough, and Alan Lowe went to Rangers. Matty went to Dundee United against my better judgment. Again, that was a decision that was taken away from you because, again, parents get involved and they see a club coming in and they think it's better the other side rather than get that experience of playing a wee bit, and then they jump at these senior clubs and before you know it, things don't go as well as they should do. But Matty back then was a phenomenal talent as well. He'd done really well. Maybe that move didn't suit him at the time. Alan Lowe went on to play for Rangers first team. My own son actually went to Motherwell with a couple of other boys, and the rest, couple Livingston, couple maybe Hamilton, but everyone to a man. The goalies went to Clyde, funny enough, and one went to Livingston.
And this was a team that were just going to disband?
This was a street team.
They were going to disband it, yeah.
Back to that street football, but again, the team was getting disbanded, but every one of them. And then what happened the year after that, big Brian Easton then came into that team. And again, he then went on to Hamilton as well. But phenomenal, and again, all local boys, just storing about the Kings Park, Castlemilk kind of area, Rutherglen.
Was it an old school approach, or was it like a hybrid? You've gone and got your badges and all that by this stage, yeah?
There was a mixture, being honest. And again, still the players still in you. You're maybe demanding too much of the boys at that time, expecting them to do it. But again, it worked. They actually picked it up really, really quick, which was massive. And then we were playing against the bigger boys. The Rangers back then wasn't Rangers Pro Youth, it would be Rangers SABC. And holding our own against them. Really holding their own, so much so that they would come and try and take your players, as every good club does. They try and get the better players in, but every one of the boys stuck to it to a fair degree and then moved on. And when that happened, we all went senior. That was my time to go. Well, I'm away, I'll go to Clyde then.
So did Clyde make that approach then, John?
They did. They'd done it just before we actually finished, and I said, no, look, the kids are here, I want to make sure they're all sorted before I go anywhere. And we did do that. I'd spoke to him a couple of times, but again, John Bean was really instrumental in that. John was a really, really good guy and forward thinking. John played with Notts Forest at the time and then came up and took over the Clyde kind of set up, but really instrumental in all that starting and bringing boys in and then going through the ages. So I did do that at the end of the year, and again that was a bit of a challenge at the time getting in there because they didn't have enough players. They had some players but they didn't have enough to get to the next level, and then the following year it kind of kicked in a wee bit again as well.
Was that the Hamilton revolution?
That was then the start of the Hamilton kind of kicker in. Again, there was lots of talk about Ronnie at the time maybe going to take over another club, but nobody was sure what club it was. And then it came out that it was Hamilton, and then en masse, more or less, everybody had moved to Hamilton and left Clyde without a kind of youth set up, basically.
And you yourself moved on?
I did move, to be fair, I did.
Talk to us about the team then, John, that you worked with at Hamilton. The
team at Hamilton was, again, a bit fortunate because, again, that team ended up part of James McCarthy, Brian Easton, Tony Stevenson, James Gibson, who I brought up for Ayr, was probably the only one that came in out with that. And that was that mould of their team for the next generation coming through. And again, in to fairness to Ronnie, they had a meeting about that with Les Gray, and they asked what players would come through for the next stage. And I didn't tell them names at that time, but I said 5. And he looked at me kind of aghast, thinking, 5? And I says, 5, definite. I'm totally confident I'll get you 5 players. And I did.
When you're looking at them at that stage, who was the best out of that
Tony
crop?
Stevenson.
Was he?
By a mile. Tony's problem was he maybe carried a bit of excess weight at the time, but again, he was a great trainer. He trained really hard and he wasn't slow. A lot of people kind of looked at him and thought, oh, but no, Tony could play centre-back, sweeper, midfield quite easily. I think he was the first one to score for Hamilton in the Premier League against Dundee United, if I remember right. And again, I remember going to his first game. They played Hibs that night, and it was the night that Tony Mowbray was announced as a Hibs manager. And he was standing beside me. And again, Tony stood out like a sore thumb, and Les had asked me, well, how old is he? I went, he's only 15. He went, what? He's 15. And that was him.
For the benefit of anyone who's listening in, who doesn't know where all these boys ended up, tell us, John.
Jesus. Well, both Jameses are now at Crystal Palace. Brian went to Burnley and came back, and now he's back at Hamilton after done a couple of clubs up here, won a Scottish Cup with St Johnstone. James Gibson, really sad, done his cruciate 3 times. So I think the last I'd heard, James went back into junior football, maybe no playing at all now. Tony kind of lost his way a wee bit, and now he's ended up back in junior football as well, who should be at the top of it. There was others, there was a load of players in at Hamilton at that time who could have went on and done really, really well for themselves. And again, they got the benefit out of that. They all played in the first team.
Yeah, they all played in the first team, and then obviously they're selling them to clubs down south. They're making good money to hopefully reinvest in the youth development.
I remember my answer, Ronnie sat us on in the boardroom, and he asked everybody why they were there. And again, me being me, I sat facing him so as I could see exactly what he was going to ask me. And everybody around the table helped me, oh, I'm here to learn, I'm here to do this, and I'm here to do that. And he came to me and he says, what are you here for? I says, I'm here to make you money. And he just looked at me, and I went, I says, because if I give you money, I says, your youth setup is good and your first team's good. Next. And that was the answer that I gave him, and I provided him with that. To be fair, James McCarthy was a different one. James, Willie Melville worked really hard to get James in. So James played the year below my team, and we played Alloa, January, and he played, and I brought him on for 30 minutes, and he said he was tired. And then lo and behold, we played a game on a Friday night. Again, he wasn't playing, he was playing down below me at that time, and he scored a wonder goal that Messi or Ronaldo would be chuffed with, and wee Billy, in fairness to him, put him in the first team and never looked back.
When you're looking at the 2 Jameses, McCarthy and MacArthur, I often wonder why both or one of them didn't end up at Celtic Park.
Well, James McCarthy was at Celtic and they let him go. But again, we can all go down that route and say some players grow quicker and some players develop quicker. Maybe at that time he wasn't ready for that, and then went to Livingston, and again I think there was an approach to get him back, and then it wasn't right for him. James MacArthur stayed at Parkhead, right behind the Celtic end in Barrowfield, and again I don't think there was ever an approach for him to go there. I don't think there was. But James had broke his leg earlier as well at St Johnstone, so done really well to come back, and when he was at Hamilton he was phenomenal. He turned in a real lean machine and worked really, really hard at a sitting midfielder, whereas before he wasn't. He was the flamboyant guy who would come back and nutmeg you and things like that. But again, you've got to look to where they've got to, and again it's probably beyond their wildest dreams.
Oh, definitely. But I mean, you were involved in the development of these players at a young age.
No, not just me, but to be fair, there was other people involved in that as well. As I say, Willie Melville was real instrumental in James McCarthy being back in the game, never mind playing for the clubs he played with. Willie pursued that one, took him to Livingston, took him there, and really fought his corner big time, whereas maybe it was easy to say, you know what, I'll move on. But the other boys, they were always going to get there. Brian Easton was a different one. He was playing with Weirs at the time. And again, he stayed down the corner for me, and I spoke to his dad and said, like, what's he doing? And he wanted to play with his mates. And I said, well, maybe now is maybe the time to move on. And fair enough, he phoned me. And within a year, Brian, his first game was against Rangers up at the training centre. And it was Paul Le Guen was just in the door then. And his mum and dad were away to Brazil. And I said, I'll pick you up. He said, really? I says, aye. So I knew he was playing. And I said to him, you know you're playing? And he went, really? And I says, you're playing against Novo, don't worry about him. I says, he runs in straight lines. I mean, he'll never... All right, aye. And I said, see, before we began, I said, when you go for my messages, we'll go to Mark's. So we went to Mark's Sparks up at Bearsden before we went into the training ground for him to play against Rangers. It's phenomenal.
It is excellent. And you've mentioned there Billy Reid, who...
Billy, aye, in fairness to Billy, he was great for the young boys. He wasn't scared to gamble on them, I've got to say that for him. And it paid off for him. Again, Billy's quite instrumental in these boys becoming quite rich at the same time, because he gave them that opportunity to get into the first team there. And without that, some other managers might not have done that. And I think if you look at Scottish football as a whole right now, there's not a lot of young players in a lot of the teams. And the ones who are doing it, St Johnstone, have got a young team, Motherwell, who have reaped the benefits of their youth, who have worked really hard at it. But other teams, maybe the pressure on them to win is maybe quite difficult to go and do. But Billy back then, backed by the board, that was their decision to do that, so fair play to them.
I agree with you. Billy would always give the young players the opportunity, John, even when he was at Clyde.
Yep, definitely.
You know, because he always looked to see who could I bring up. And he seemed to have that philosophy. We obviously went to Hamilton and he knew that he's down south. He's probably got hopefully he has got the same philosophy, bringing the young players through. But Billy's a good coach. Billy's a nice guy. I got on great with him at Clyde as well.
I just think managers now are scared to kind of put younger boys in their team.
Aye.
I'm saying that in one side, and the other side I'm saying, well, maybe if you look at Celtic, James Forrest has come through the whole thing. Kieran Tierney was a wee bit fortunate to get there, if I'm being honest, at the time, because I know he had a bad leg break and then he was kind of at the side, and I believe the story that I hear is Izzy got injured, and Ronnie Delia, to be fair, had brought him into that fold and kicked on for then. So against Celtic, they've got the couple there. Callum McGregor for me is an extraordinary player. I think he's done really, really well. And again, I remember talking to Greg Abbott at Carlisle about Callum at one point when he was at Notts County, and I wasn't sure, because English football is all, you've got a lot of big 6-footers in there, but when Doon scored a barrel load of goals for Notts County, done really well and came back, and I think he's one of Celtic's real better players, if I'm being honest. I think he causes lots of teams problems.
So Carlisle were interested in signing Callum McGregor?
They were, aye. Greg Abbott at the time, which when I was at Annan, we spoke to Greg quite a lot, because obviously we weren't financially great to get players, and so thinking if we gave Carlisle our training ground, then they can give us players. And that was the way that you've got to work at their levels. So I used to go down and speak to Greg at that time and watch the training and come back up the road, and he had asked me about a couple of players, and I gave him my opinion. But really, he was desperate to get Callum McGregor at the time. I don't think they could have afforded it at that point. We're talking about they had that set wage that they had to pay, and Lee Miller at that time was their big player, and they couldn't go beyond that. So it became a non-event. They just couldn't afford him at that time anyway. But really fancied him. No, he had a big thing for Callum McGregor,
who's obviously gone on to be a pivotal member of this side that's won 9 league titles in a row, John. So thanks for putting him off him.
Again, I think that it might have just been a loan deal back then. But again, I think Celtic were maybe at that time weren't too sure themselves, if I'm being honest, because I have spoken to the guys who coached Callum McGregor at the time and Andy Robertson, and again they kind of kept me how that kind of went about. But again, Andy Robertson's a kind of freak one. Anybody can make that decision on a player at that time and say not too sure. What he's been on to achieve is just phenomenal. Even you can make a movie about that.
I know, 2 European Cup finals.
And it's funny because my second game at Annan was against Queen's Park, and I hadn't heard of Andy Robertson, to be honest. And I'm obviously close to the touchline watching him, and he wasn't even breathing running by me. Honestly, he was getting by me, and I'm thinking, that boy's got what an engine. And again, Queen's Park had some good players there. Blair Spittle was there, Aidan Conley, who all went on to make moves. But Andy Robertson back then, you could see, oh my goodness. That was my second game, and then we played them again. And again, Hampden's a big park, and the boy, honestly, he was up and down the park, and his crossing was a delight. And I think, why has nobody touched him? And then it only then became a part. I didn't know he was at Celtic at that point. And I spoke to, obviously, the coaches, and they told me. So, tremendous achievement he's been on to do. But again, it's a freak one. I've got to say, he's always had the attributes to do it. Maybe again, back to being Scotland's, where maybe he wasn't the biggest at that time. We always tend to fall under that banner that not big enough, not too sure. I don't know if that was the case, but for me, freak one, definitely.
You, like a lot of the names you've mentioned at Hamilton, you moved on yourself, you went to St Mirren.
I did that. I went with Big Davy Longwell. Davy was great for youth football at St Mirren. I think Davy probably overachieved at St Mirren, if I'm being honest. St Mirren at that time were hemorrhaging young boys coming into the first team. Again, the McGinns is Davies. If I'm being honest, I remember watching John McGinn against Kilmarnock. And there was a wee guy, Chrissy Johnson, playing for Kilmarnock, who tormented them the whole night. Chrissy was on fire that night. I was there. And John was obviously at the growing stage, and he was struggling to keep up with wee Chrissy. And Davy Longwell fought tooth and nail to make sure that he stayed there, and now look where he is. I think the boy, that could be one that maybe Celtic might regret no taking through, but you look at him now and I think he's capable of standing with any team down there. Big lad, gets his celebrated part. But the whole McGinns, all the McGinns, all played with St Mirren at that time.
Yeah.
But Davy was instrumental in everything that happened at St Mirren's youth team at that time.
Who was the McGinn that ended up getting a corner flag in the thigh?
John.
Was it John?
Aye, Stevie Thompson. Bizarre story, that one.
Were you there at that time?
No. And if I was, I wasn't telling you. I never witnessed
it. And then you eventually moved yourself onto Dumbarton, but again, success with youth players going into the first team.
Dumbarton was a real right out of the blue, because I had no intentions then. I thought, I'm going to take time out. I'm not going to be doing anything. And again, I got a phone call from Graham Diamond, funny enough. Graham phoned me up and he says, look, Chappie wants you to go down to Dumbarton. I went, well, what do you want me to do? He says, why don't you go and change it all? I said, it's a nice one. Change what? I don't know what it is. So I've been doing to meet Chappie, and they were training at I can't remember the name of the park, but it wasn't a very nice park anyway, right beside the train station. And I goes down and I'm watching and I went, my goodness, wow. I says, Jim, I'm not being cheeky. He said, no, you'll have a challenge. He says, you'll have a challenge. He says, you could. I said, Jim, this is Everest, come on. I says, I don't think I'm going to take this one on board. No, come in and help me. And I went, aye, okay then. And I went in, we were getting battered, absolute battered, like, all over the place. And again, I finds out that Dumbarton had brought the players in by putting an advert in to bring in for their pro youth team next to their first team. And I thought, wow. So I took the hit for the first couple of months, and then during that pre-season, wiped it clear and brought in some of the boys who were already there for the under-17s, I think it was, and then brought in some of my own. And then the following year we get 6 or 7 out of that to go and play in the first team, which then took them on board to winning a league and getting promotion. Funny enough, against Annan.
That's right, they got promotion. We actually went down. We brought Bertie down to hospitality, because Bertie was he was a manager there.
Yeah.
And it was a good day.
Well-run club.
Very well-run club.
Well-run club.
No, it was excellent.
The disappointing part was that the youth thing didn't kick on as it should have done. But they boys, again, all played. And I took some of them to other clubs with me. Some of the players I stuck with, because I thought, you know what, they're honest. They're real honest. And they worked their socks off. And when I moved to other clubs, I took them with me. So they stuck with me and won. In fact, some of them are still at the clubs now. But done really well out of that. I've got to say that it was really, the boys worked really hard. And what I liked about them was it came to like changing everything around. They bought right into what you were trying to do. They wanted to win as well at the same time, and they knew it was at stake. They knew they could get to the first team, because they would watch the first team regularly. And I said, you can get there if you work hard. You'll get there, because you've already got talent. And they did get there, and it worked out for them. So again, we saved Dumbarton a few quid by going and getting players, because generally in the smaller divisions, I don't know if anybody understands it, or generally the team changes every year, because the players generally only sign a 1-year contract, and usually before the end of the season they're already negotiating their contract for somewhere else. Mm-hmm. But the young boys have no got that in them. They don't understand that part of it at that time. They get it now, but back then they would be totally loyal to what they've signed, and they would do it for more or less buttons, if being honest. And they did do that. So
you took on a big challenge, but you overcame that challenge, John.
Aye, and again, funny enough, I was working at Rangers at that time as well, and we played Rangers in the BB Cup at Ibrox, which was my worst ever draw, and I think, I don't need this. The week previous to that, we beat 10-1 with Livingston. So we go to Ibrox, and Sinky and I are there watching the game, and I'm in at the training centre on the Monday, and Big Alan Cairn is like, oh, you're going to get gubbed next week. And I mean, I didn't bother. says, that doesn't bother me. I says, listen, if Rangers don't beat Dumbarton 10-1, I says, there's something wrong. I says, I believe your striker you just paid 65 grand for. I said, I've got a wee guy for Brigton. I says, I've got a wee guy for Burnbank. I've got a wee guy for Postal. I says, but listen, no problem. So I'd watched them. I'd went and watched them in that period before the game, and I think they're not beating us 10-1. There's no chance. So I made sure that it would be really difficult to beat. We ended up we could beat 3-1. But it was a real good performance. It was 2-1 with, I think, 8 minutes to go. And we Kieran Brannan's through. I remember it clearly. And I think, Kieran, just hit it, it'll go in. And he takes another touch, takes it wide. And if anybody wanted to score a goal at Ibrox, it's Kieran Brannan, because I know what he'd have done. So Kieran, he takes that extra touch, and I'm thinking, no, just hit it, honestly. And he comes in and he says to me after it, I get too nervous, I couldn't hit it. It was a Celtic end. I had to burst out laughing. But the boys, they achieved, remember, we're going for 10-1 to getting beat 3-1 at Ibrox, which Rangers have paid a lot of money for that youth team. So, and to be fair, that youth team consisted of Greg Wild, Kel Hutton, John Fleck, and that's what we competed with that day.
We heard a lot of talk about John Fleck being the next bright hope. John, what was your kind of take at that stage?
I could see why, definitely see why. I could definitely see that there was that thing about John. He certainly stood out for his crowd. I mean, that team that he played with, again, were a good team. Greg Wild was in there, who was an absolute flying machine. Kel Hutton was dead composed on the ball. But John stood out, and he was still younger than them. And again, that day we played, he went as a midfielder to pick it up and get at us. And again, me being me, I thought he's not going to take the mic out of us. So Tony Wallace, who I had, was just an honest big guy, Tony, really honest. And I said to him, look, wherever Fleck goes, just make sure you deny him the space to get in behind you. And Tony did, to be fair. He was quite quiet that day, but you could see he could win you the game. He had a vision, and he's a great passer of the ball. But a pace about him as well, really strong for a small guy. So again, he's went on to achieve real good things. Probably the best thing he'd done was leave Rangers.
Leave Scotland even.
Yeah. Aye, definitely, yeah. Without a doubt, aye. And he's a family man as well, to be fair. You know, he's a good boy.
Aye, he's done well.
Yep.
You eventually get an opportunity to get into first team management.
Yes.
And when you go to Annan, you've got some, what I would call local knowledge with the Jimmy Johnson Academy, and a few of the boys go up there with you, or down there with you. Definitely,
and it was my first thing, because again, Annan is a real small area, so they've not got the capacity to deal with a reserve team and a youth team. So my first thinking is, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to make sure I've got something underneath that first team to make sure there's a healthy balance in there. And I did. I took, I think, maybe 7 or 8 down it eventually. Some actually played at Ibrox against Rangers. Rabin became outstanding, smart, done a cracking job for us. The younger boys, maybe the travelling ended up getting to them at the time, and again, we had a real one that I thought kind of hurt his sell a wee bit was young Gary Black, the goalkeeper, because I thought he had a real phenomenal chance. Again, whether the travelling got to him, whether it was work, whether it was family, he decided to pull out it after a bit. But he's back playing again, which is good to see. But no, definitely, and the idea was we were going to use Jimmy Johnson as our feeder right through to the reserve team. And again, it gives them a pathway for them to achieve. So I would take them down, even the first team ones that I took down, I still came back to the 13, 14-year-olds together and playing some of the youth games as well.
Absolutely.
Because it was there. It was untapped. Nobody, again, we're typical West of Scotland. Jimmy Johnson might be Celtic. Well, it's no Celtic. Jimmy Johnson's open to anybody and everybody. And people just can't get that around their heads here, because West of Scotland mentality is you're either green or you're either blue. To me, it doesn't matter whether you're green, blue or white. I couldn't care less as long as you can play. So it made sense for me to tap in with the Jimmy Johnson boys, and tap in with Jim, and tap in with Kenny, and tap in with everybody who's here, Big Jerry. And they bought into that. And they were more than willing to come down and right behind it. In fact, so much so that they became nearly season ticket holders, I think. I think my biggest supporters at Ibrox was a man who's sitting across the table from me.
Definitely, and I was proud. I was very proud of John that day. I was the last person actually to leave the side of that park that day as well. But I was proud of John. I was proud of the way the Annan team, John, Jim Chapman, the whole backroom staff, Annan that day, went about their business in a magnificent manner, and to get a result the way they got it, and with Jimmy Johnston players playing, was even icing on the cake for me. I thought it was brilliant. was a brilliant day. It was a great atmosphere, and then after it, you know, even the Saturday night, me and John's talking to each other. It was brilliant. Then we end up here on the Sunday because we're back with the wee ones again, talking about it. So proud of him. So proud of that result. It was not just that result, but I know we're talking about the Ibrox man now, but you had to be there, Paul, to actually feel it and to see that the guys that you know and the young players that you know are against the mighty Glasgow Rangers on that part and beating them at Ibrox was fantastic.
Obviously Rangers by that stage were working their way up through the leagues, and they're playing out at Ibrox, big stadium. It's a big day. You take your team up there.
I was dead relaxed. It's probably the most relaxed I've ever been at a game. I couldn't believe it. I went, my dad was actually in hospital that day, and I went up to the Southern to see him. At that time it was the Southern, and I went in and I said to him, and again he was a wee bit delusional. He says, "Where are you playing?" I says, "Ibrox." "Who are you playing against?" I says, "Rangers." "Alright." And that was it. I said, "I'll be back up after the game. I'll come back up and see you after the game and let you know how it goes, get your programme." "Alright, right, I didn't bother." And then I drives back along to Ibrox, and I goes into the park my car, and my pal's playing in the centre across the road for it. So I've run in and I've watched him playing. He's like, "You're not getting in?" I says, "No, it's too early." I said, "I'll just watch you for a wee bit." So I'm watching him playing, and he went, "It's 1:30. I went, "That's alright." I says, I'll get in when I'm ready." And I then went, I need a cup of tea. So the study centre at Rangers is where they do a lot of the charity stuff and a lot of the programmes with kids at school. So I thought, I'm going to go up for a cup of tea. So I went up for a cup of tea with the guy in the study centre, who again is a big Celtic man, Dominic. And I goes in to get a cup of tea, and he's got the kids in, take them into the game, and he's, "Oh, what are you doing in here?" So I got a cup of tea. He says, "You want to come and chat?" I said, "I ain't bother." I'm chatting to the kids and talking away, and I said to them, "Any use playing goal?" And he goes, "Oh, I playing goal. I says, "That's good." I says, "Because your goalkeeper's sick now, he's lying on the bench." And I was totally true. He was wiped out. The goalkeeper was wiped out. This is before the game. He's gone, he's on the bench sleeping. And I said to the wee boys, "Oh, I can play." I says, "Right, get the gloves on." And Dom's like me, "Are you alright?" I says, "Aye." I says, "I'm fine, no problem." I has my tea and I goes down. I says, "Listen, enjoy the game, no bother." And Dom's like, "What is it, 5-6? I went, "Aye, no bother, no problem." Because away doing it, and I'm walking in the door, and the girl at the reception bit, you walk, "Where are you going?" I said, "The dressing room." I said, "Why?" I says, "No, that's my team today." She's like, "What do you mean?" I says, "That's my team today." She went, "You the name?" And I says, Aye. She's like, "Aye, right, no bother." So I goes away in and gets the boys all ready, and I says, "Right, I better go out." I goes out, about to get the stuff set up for the warm up, and all I hear is this booing, boo. And the lassie beside me was like, "John, they're booing." I says, "I know." She went, "Who's they booing at?" I said, "Look round." She went, "There's nobody here." I went, "They're booing at me." She went, "Really?" I says, "Aye." I says, "That's it. See what I am there? I know what I am. Don't worry about it." And we went out and done the warm up, and I was still, honestly, I was as calm as anything. And then I remember saying to them during the game, and Chappie, to be fair as well, was quite alright about it. And I says, "Look, we're on nothing to lose here." I says, "Absolutely nothing to lose." I said, I've watched Rangers for the best part of the season, and there's no pace at the back. I said, "And the crowd will be on them 20 minutes, 30 minutes, they'll be expected to be 3 or 4 up." I said, "We can keep them tight, we'll be absolute fine." And they were looking at me as if, "You're on another planet." And I'm saying, "I'm telling you, just stick to this, don't do it." And again, Chappie, to be fair, is like, "We stick in, we keep it tight till we get to where we are." And we did. And we got to half time. I says, "By the way, we won the game now." And they're like, "Yeah." I said, "We'll win the game." I says, "We'll really open up." I says, "Because they need to push now." I says, "They're going to leave gaps in behind you." I said, "We'll score." And we did. The thing is, I didn't celebrate, because the one thing I didn't want them coming back and saying to me I was rubbing salt in their face, and I didn't want that. So I made sure I was as calm as anything. But I do a programme at Ibrox, and it's called Football Fans and Training. So we scored, and I'm walking back to the dugout. Again, I'm just walking back. This woman behind the dugout is keeping me tight. Oh my God. I was everything. Everything you could name, I was at. I burst out laughing. I'm like, "No bother." Aye. So we scores again. This time I'm laughing because I can't believe it. I'm actually thinking, 2-0 up by Ibrox. This could be 3. I'm in here.
I'm doing somersaults.
I'm giving it. Aye.
I bet you.
I'm looking there to the Celtic and Simmy's up there. "Yes, get in there." And I'm like, wow. Again, but this time our pals have joined in. They're really getting me tight. Again, this is getting out on radio, so I don't want us to say what she actually told me. I goes in on the Wednesday to my fit programme. Who's the first people I see? The 3 women. I said, I told you I wasn't what you thought I was. And they were like, we never meant it. But it was good fun. But after the game, I didn't enjoy it, I'll be honest.
No?
I went in, because I knew I was going to hospital to see my dad again. And I went in, and my son was at the game. Again, he was caught, because he's thinking, Rangers fan. And I goes up to see him up the stair. They're saying, you need to get into the dressing room. You see Ali and Durante and I'm saying, aye, no bother. I need to get my dad in hospital. So eventually I goes in, and big Neil Smith's there. He's working for the Rangers media. So Neil knows I'm working at Rangers. And the photographer knows I'm working at Rangers. I think, here's a story. And I went, no stories, nothing, don't ask me nothing. I goes in, does my bit, gets a cup of tea. Ali, brand new, he was brilliant. Honestly, they were absolute tremendous and absolute, again, top man. A guy who's done everything. Durante, brilliant. Kenny, fantastic. So I had a spark with Kenny during the game. And he's like, I can't believe you. And I went, what? He went, he's a ball. I went, do you think I'm giving you the ball? I says, no chance. So he kicks the ball and he misses me. And I walked in, I went, I knew that was you that hit that ball. I says, because he missed me. And again, he burst out laughing. So that was it. And I just went in, had a quick cup of tea, and I went, right, I need to go to hospital. When I went back to the hospital, see my dad. He says, how'd the game go? I went to the van. Aye, all right, nothing.
So it begs the question, victory at Ibrox, right? A lot of people might say, oh, it's one of the kind of high points, etc. I get the feeling you get more satisfaction out of a young boy making it that you've worked with. Yep. Definite.
They actually asked me, I don't generally do these things. And somebody had asked me what was the biggest and best game that I ever, and I never, they expected me to say the Rangers game, and I never. This is nah, definitely no. This is, for me, it's about developing players, getting them to where they want to be, and see if they still remember you. Brilliant. They don't have to reward you any more than just watching them on the TV and doing what they're doing, and doing the best of their ability. And that's what it's about. Whether I get players to Celtic, whether I get players to Rangers, as long as they're playing, I really don't care where they end up. As long as they're playing,
absolutely,
as well as they can, you know.
Absolutely.
Got a few more questions because you've had a colourful career with quite a few clubs, John. And when you were at Clyde, again, you moved to Clyde, you're the assistant manager at Clyde. Yep. You worked alongside a player who at one point was a great prospect in terms of Scottish football, David Goodwillie. Everybody knows that there was a criminal case and then a civil case, and his career obviously faltered as a result of that.
Yep.
He found himself at Clyde. What kind of a boy was he to work with? And when you look at the standard of his ability and his performance, what kind of level do you reckon he should be playing at had it not been for all the personal issues?
For me, Goody's the best professional that I've ever had, in terms of the person he is. I know the baggies that he carries, but never one day did he come in there and shy back for anything. Whether he was a top player, regardless of who he was playing with, whether it was the young boy at 16, 17, he treated him the exact same way as he would expect to get treated. He was an absolute fantastic guy to train. He's one of the only ones who would stay back and do extra and do more. And even when we try to rest him, no, I'll come in, give him a day off. No, I'll come in. I think what David's done is he's accepted whatever happened, and how it happened, who knows. But for me, he's a phenomenal talent still. Could play Premier League football quite easily if somebody would actually take that gamble on him, and they would get a watch because he scored goals all day. But it's not just his goals, it's his work rate. He's a hardest working boy that I think I've ever come across. And I actually asked him a couple of times, what would you do different? He went, everything. He said, I had a talent. I says, no, you've still got the talent. He says, but I didn't work as hard as. And I'm thinking, if that's working hard, then my goodness. He's the best trainer I have ever seen. And again, whether that's because he's know where he is and where he should be in my eyes, again, whatever he's done or whoever it's came about, I don't know. I never went into that because it's nothing to do with us. But as a person, I found him a delight. As a football player, I found him even better.
First Clyde player since the 1950s to score 20 odd goals for 3 seasons running.
Easy. And I'll tell you what, it's all unselfish. Works for the team. And again, it's dead easy for somebody to come, as you say, has been up at that level, to come back down to the smaller level and think, you know what, I'm Billy big time here. Nope. Not one iota. Nothing. Everything he done was top notch.
We're talking about Scottish talent. There's been a few players over the last few years who have either promised or delivered. So I'm going to ask you your own take on them, right?
Yep.
Islam Feruz.
Wasted ability. Definite. Again, Tam Burns, for me, another gentleman, dare I say it. Tam worked tirelessly to make sure Islam got to where he was, and then when sadly Tommy died, then Islam seemed to kind of lose that bit with going to Chelsea, and again maybe the lifestyle down there it's just wasted what he had for me.
It's a shame. It's always a shame when you see wasted potential.
But again, sometimes you've got to watch what you're doing, and again we all like our own friends. I mean, I'm a home bird myself, and I like to keep my own kind of counsel at times. I'll keep so many kind of people that I trust. Sometimes maybe it's easy to get dragged in because you're earning a lot of money and you've got a lot of baggage attached to you, and there's people want to hang about you, and I think maybe he fell for that.
Next player, Billy Gilmour.
Phenomenal.
What can he achieve?
Oh, whatever he wants. Seriously. He could be, wow. He could be a Fabregas easy for them, didn't he? Or a David Silva. For me, I watched him. And again, in fact, Jim and myself went up and watched the Rangers and Celtic youth game at the time. Whereas Nathan Patterson was playing, Gilmour was playing, the two of them ran the show, and the two of them were 4 feet if they were lucky. Celtic at that point had a couple of big boys playing. I remember talking to Mark McNally about that, and he said that kind of changed their way a wee bit, but the two of them ran the show. They were weak at that time, they couldn't score, it was nothing each of the game, but you could see quite clearly that the two of them were the best players in the park by a country mile. And then you see him playing against Liverpool as if he's playing the street.
Brilliant.
And such a humble boy, actually.
Be interesting to see how that develops over the next few seasons, John.
Again, I see he's picked up an injury there. I wonder how he'll react to that one, because he's now going to be out until for about 4 months, I think. So it's interesting to see how they react with injury, because they've got obviously different kind of baggage to them now. They're now in the first team, so never been injured before. How are they going to come back for that, and who's advising them and who's taking care of him could be a big thing for him next time.
The third player, his big brother, played here at the Jimmy Johnson Academy. He offered Jimmy's wee brother. Jim didn't know much about him. Karamoko Dembele.
Oh, aye, could be, aye, definitely. Do you know what, an interesting one about that wee lad as well? I used to do a wee thing in Tory Glen with Gordon Dale with kids at school, and his school came in. And again, I didn't know him at that time. I knew he played with Part Villa back then. And see the wee boy running about with the ball, and I'm thinking, my goodness. But he was only 8. I think, wow. The rest of them are struggling to actually stand and tap with the ball, and he's running about, and I think, wow. So I end up with passing the ball, and I mean, I'm passing the ball to him. It's no like I'm giving him a wee soft one to control, and he's just stopping it dead. I think, wow, 8. Again, Scottish football, we tend to kind of favour smaller guys. That could be an issue for him, but I don't see it being, because he's a hugely talented young lad. Whether the pressure, he going to first team every other time, that's a different thing. You know, Celtic have got to win every game. Mm-hmm. You know, so when does he get that opportunity to do that? Whereas, again, James Forrest went in early and stayed in. How many others have done that? No too many. Callum McGregor is another one. Other than that, we could be talking about maybe one or so other. Yeah. I know Mikey Johnson's in and out now, and again, that could happen for Mikey again, but next year's a big season, isn't it? So again, is that pressure on the manager to do that? Whether they get that chance to do that, I don't know.
I think you're right about Mikey. It's all about physicality this season. If he can,
I think so. Again, there's huge pressure on the two teams and the fans that are there, and they all want Stoke. One wants to Stoke 10, one wants to win 10. But does it matter? You know, it's a league. Somebody's got to win it. Whether it's 1, whether it's 10, whether it's 11, whether it's 12, whether it's 13, somebody's got to win it, and there's going to be a change at some point. So, you can have that as part of your history attached to it, but is it not about keep providing players and keep having quality of football and keep having that quality, so as we're the best team that Scotland could ever get?
On that note then, final question for you, John. What do we do? Or, at the moment, is Scottish football's youth system broken? And if so, what do we do to repair it?
I think we've got more technical players than we've ever had, because we're all playing at that level. We're all playing against the same teams every year at the same age group. And I know Rangers and Celtic now have changed a wee bit. They're playing Bayern Munich and this world, which is probably more beneficial for them than playing against the same age groups. And I think hopefully that is the right way to go about it. But now the pro youth system, it isn't seeming to work for me. When we were best a way back, and again we're talking about different eras, guys just played. They played. And they played and they played and they played. Now, a case, it's a job. So it's they play only when the sports science guys tells them to play. Is that right or is that wrong? Who am I? You know, but for me, I think we need to go back and play as much as we possibly can and play above yourself. And again, I know both teams are doing that they're pushing boys up to play against 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. They're only they've done it with Dembele, sure, they've done it, they brought him into, again, whether it was right to do that at that time, because again, it sends out the wrong message to the other players in the academy that, hold on, he's 15, he's playing reserve football, I'm doing my best and I'm not getting a sniff of it. So sometimes it's got a detrimental effect to it. But for me, I just think we need to get boys back to playing as much as we possibly can and let them learn mistakes. Back then, we all made mistakes and we still make mistakes, but we need to learn from that. So I make a mistake this time, I might not do it the next time. I watched St Mirren in Morton a couple of years ago, and there was 13 players on the park, being at Rangers or Celtic. So again, I'm looking at guys coming in from abroad. I believe Celtic are looking at an American lad at 20. What does that say to their 20-year-olds in at Celtic?
Yeah.
Or Rangers? If we're not good enough, if we're bringing in, we're going to spend £1 million on that. So again, I'm pretty sure, given the opportunity, these boys at Celtic could maybe go on and do that. Young Aidan Disbys at Morton, who my pal was the manager there. And again, we watched that cup final, and Aidan was outstanding.
That's right, huh?
He was scored a hat-trick that night. He was outstanding. I remember sitting to wee Willie, and I said to Willie, Aidan will do really well tonight. Hampden, big part, he'll get it, and he did. But again, didn't really get that opportunity at Celtic to kick on. Could he have kicked on? With his talent, aye. His physicality, maybe no. So again, they'll probably get some players in there who might go amiss, who might have to go and play elsewhere to come back again. So the pro youth thing, eyes and nose, definitely. Technical, definitely. You see with the young Scotland teams, they're doing all right, but we're not doing all right in the national team. Mm-hmm. And again, I kind of pointed out to Jim the other day there, I noticed that Willie and Jimmy only had 40 odd caps, and then I noticed a player who had 48 caps, which tells me a story. Back then we had competition. Nowadays we don't really have competition for places. They kind of tend to pick their own.
Willie Henderson and Jimmy Johnson, between them, as John rightfully says, you've got a player there that's got 48 for himself. That no disrespect to the man.
No, it's all no
disrespect at all. But we're talking players there that way surpass anything we've got with talent these days.
And again, we talk about the parks being no very good with that picture right in front as we can see the mud on it. Mm-hmm. The balls would be heavy, the strips would be heavy, the boots would be heavy, and having that talent to go by people as if they're no there. Mm-hmm. And I'm not taking away for the players these days, because it's what it is. The parts are better, the strips are made to fit you, everything's lighter to make you go quicker, but that doesn't mean to say you're a better talented player.
No.
And that seems to be the way that we're going more sports science, more involved, whereas half of these guys would be out having a pint on the Sunday and then go and play on the Monday. And again, I'm not saying that's right, but it never done us any harm. We had St Johnstone in Europe, we had Kilmarnock in Europe, we had Dundee in Europe, we had Aberdeen in Europe, and winning trophies, whereas we've not had nothing really since the introduction of pro youth football. So something's amiss somewhere. And again, I look at the England system where they all seem to go out on loan. Harry Kane's had 5 loans. Mm-hmm. He knew he's the top striker in England. And again, I remember we played Rangers again, and I spoke to Mark Warburton about that, and he said that up here there's a reluctance for players to go out on loan because they see it as a step down.
Right. So it's the player themselves?
It could be. Again, depends on an advisor. Yeah. Who's advising boys now? Because they've all got agents now at 12, 13, 14. So again, that's went beyond the realms of belief for me. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm a wee down to Coventry at 15, 16, the train, non-negotiable. There's your train fare, that's it, away you go. Done. Whereas now they all seem to be getting something with it, and it's a sustainability. Where do we go for here? We need to get Scotland better as a football nation, back to where we were. The Billy Brenners, this world, the Davy Hayes, Sandy Jardins, Danny McGrains. We've not got that anymore. And again, I can speak, the game's changed dramatically because full-backs don't defend, centre-backs, as I say, want to be Franz Beckenbauers. And is that us? Is that coming for pro youth?
Back in the day, we had Franz Beckenbauer playing for Socky Juniors, you know.
George Conley, that's enough for me, yeah. Definitely. It's
been absolutely brilliant and fascinating insight into some of the recent Scottish talents as well, so it'll be interesting to see how some of them progress in the next couple of seasons. All that's left for Jim and I to say, John, is thank you very much for joining us on A Celtic State of Mind.
Pleasure.